Make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. And to never miss another lecture from Miracle, hit the bell icon to get regular updates on English literature.
Hello and welcome to Miracle English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and as you all know that we are discussing the recent UGC-NET English paper 3. I've already done 7 parts and this is 8th in the series, and this is the last part probably. I will wind my third paper with this video, and I should get sufficient feedback to start the second paper. I will only do if you subscribe, like, comment and share the video with your friends. I've not just given you the key or the right answer, but have discussed the questions and their answers in detail in order to make you aware of the true spirit of literature. I think you must have enjoyed and gained a lot from them. You can join our new batches for UGC-NET, JRF, MA, BA, BA Honours. Question number 60. How would a new historicist critic interpret Derrida's statement, "There is nothing outside the text"? And the correct answer is, literature encompasses all cultural artifacts and all the values, power relations, and ways of seeing reflected in those artifacts. There is nothing outside of the text, broadly conceived. Now, this is a question from literary theory. Cannot be explained here in detail. You can go back and watch all my videos on literary theory, especially on deconstruction and new historicism. Pick out 2 Austen heroines from the following list who are right-minded but neglected in the beginning, but gradually are acknowledged to be correct by characters who have previously looked down on them. And of course, the 2 heroines of Jane Austen are Fanny Price and Anne Eliot. Fanny Price from Mansfield Park is a very passive heroine of Jane Austen. The other characters in the novel are quite active, and she hides her emotions and thoughts, and she rarely expresses them. So other people are unable to comprehend her thoughts because she's so gentle and retiring, but she triumphs in the end, winning admin. You can also watch my animation video on Mansfield Park.
The story of Mansfield Park is of 3 sisters, married off in different sections of society. The eldest married to wealthy Sir Thomas Bertram and known as Lady Bertram. The middle sister is married to a clergyman, Mr. Norris, and the youngest in a poor family, Lieutenant Price. Bertram family has 4 kids, Tom, Edmund, Maria, and Julia. Mr. and Mrs. Norris had no children, and Mr. and Mrs. Price had many children. They were so poor they were unable to care for their children with proper education. Lady Bertram wants to help her poor sister, so Fanny, the eldest, comes to stay with the Bertram family. The sisters, Maria and Julia, are not happy to welcome her.
The other heroine is Anne Eliot, and she's the protagonist of Persuasion, which was published posthumously in 1817, 6 months after her death. And she is also, like Austen's heroines, witty, clever and considerate. She's level-headed. Although she's not the prettiest, but then as her good qualities reflect, she becomes more and more attractive. And she's so clear-minded that she even rebels against her father and elder sister for their vanity. Question number 62. The variety of English used between non-native speakers who do not share a first language is called? Quite an easy one. The third, English as a lingua franca. Now, this term was first coined in the beginning of the 17th century by the Italians. And before that also, when all these country people got together for commerce purpose, for selling or buying different things, they needed a common language. And that time it was Frankish language, that is Frank, and which was used between French, Portuguese, Spanish, Turkish, Greek, and Arabic. Now, in India also we have got so many languages and it is difficult to learn all the languages. Hindi is not known to all the people around India. Therefore, after the British rule, English functions as lingua franca in India.
अरे बाबूजी ऐसी इंग्लिश आवे that I can leave अंग्रेज behind. I can talk English, I can walk English, I can laugh English. You see, sir, I can talk English, I can walk English, I can laugh English because English is a very funny language. English is a very funny language.
Question number 63. Identify the story for which E.M. Forster wrote the libretto for its opera version. And the correct answer is third, Billy Bird. Now, Billy Bird is an opera in 4 acts whose libretto is written by E.M. Forster and Eric Crozier, and it was adapted from the story of Herman Melville. A libretto is a text used in an extended musical work such as opera or operetta or masque. It was first performed at the Royal Opera House, London on 1st of December 1951.
And when we are so very glad, any moment now, sir, we may sight a French sail and chase her, for sure her heel she will to a certainty. You are right, Mr. Flint, she'll fly from us.
Question number 64. Who among the following Premchand translators has not translated Godin? And the correct answer is fourth, Christopher R. King. Godin was first published in 1936 by Premchand and is considered one of the greatest Hindi novels of modern Indian literature. It is about rural poverty, exploitation of poor people, sometimes very pathetic, and urban life glimpses are also there. So, this was the last complete novel of Premchand. It was translated into English in 1957 by J. Ratan and P. Lal. And then in 1968, another translation by Gordon C. Rodemal is considered to be a classic in itself. The title was The Gift of a Cow. Christopher R. King translated his another very famous novel, Gabon. Question number 65. When Fred got into debt, it always seemed to him highly probable that something or other, he did not necessarily conceive what, would come to pass, enabling him to pay in due time. Why is Fred Vinci in debt in Middlemarch? And the correct answer is he is an inveterate gambler. He gets himself into debt by gambling because he is accustomed to a lavish lifestyle. Middlemarch, the subtitle is A Study of Provincial Life. It is a novel written by an English author, George Eliot, whose real name is Mary Ann Evans. It was published in 8 installments initially. It is set in the fictitious Midland town of Middlemarch. It is a work of realism that refers to many historical events, even the Reform Act of 1832. It incorporates the beginning of the railways, the death of King George IV. Question number 66. William Blake has a rare elan to provide telling images and arresting phrases. Match the phrase with the poems they belong to. And the correct sequence is Mind Forged Manacles, London, Eternal Winter, Holy Thursday, Fearful Symmetry, of course, The Tiger, and Crimson Joy, The Sick Rose. William Blake Yes, the pre-romantic poet or the transitional poet who wrote the songs of innocence and the songs of experience.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry?
And the visionary prophet who's seeing great golden cities and how that argues with what's going on in the human world, with industries developing, machines churning out flour, the noise, the dirt, the chimney sweeps, the prostitutes, seems bloody and apocalyptic and dark, and the forces of repression and the soldiers are closing it down in London. So maybe...
Question number 68. In the first scene in which Goethe's Faust appears, he is dejected by the study of philosophy, law, medicine and theology, turns to magic art to acquire infinite knowledge. But he fails and in desperation attempts to commit suicide, but he refrains at the final moment. What prevents Faust from committing suicide? And the correct answer is the chiming of the bells announcing Easter festivities. Now, this Faust is also taken from German folklore, as done by Christopher Marlowe for his Dr. Faustus. Faust is exhausted with all the worldly studies and he takes the magic, that is the necromancy, I think. But then he fails again because he finds himself human. He is not changed into a spirit. So he brews poison and is about to take the poison when he hears the chiming of the bell, and the spirits, they come and stop him from dying because it is Easter time. Which novel by Joseph Conrad presents a young captain who, like Coleridge's Ancient Mariner, is haunted by the vision of ship drifting in calm and swinging in light airs, and all the crew dying slowly about her decks, and who feels the sickness of my soul, the weight of my sins, my sense of unworthiness? And the correct answer is The Shadow Line. The complete name of the novella is The Shadow Line, a confession, and it has a dual narrative structure. It is based at sea, and it is a short novel written by Conrad in 1916. And it shows the conflict between the young and the nature of wisdom, experience and maturity. Some say that it has the metaphor of the First World War. It has suggestions of madness, and the supernatural is also there, like that of Hamlet. So we can say that it has an important thematic intertext. As Hamlet, it has the illusion of the rhyme of Ancient Mariner, when there is a vision of ship drifting and calm and swinging and all that stuff which is asked in the question. So we can say that it is a box which has got numerous narratives, bits of text and literary allusions. Question number 70. Our almost instinct, almost true. What will survive of us is love. Identify the poem by Philip Larkin that ends with the above lines. And the correct answer is An Arundel Tomb. This poem was written in 1956 and it describes the 14th century table tomb in which two stone sculptures of Earl and Countess are lying side by side, hand in hand. It is not a sentimental poem. In this poem, he distills a romantic notion which was proposed right from the beginning and which resonates throughout the poem. The last two lines are highly quoted from Larkin, and here he says that love only survives and it is the only truth. Question number 71. In the epilogue to Congreve's Way of the World, there is a warning. Others there are whose malice we'd prevent, such who watch plays with scurrilous intent, to mark out who by characters are meant, these with false glosses feed their own ill nature, and turn to libel what was meant a satire. What does the warning mean? And the correct answer is second. Critics should not look for portrait of real people in the play's characters and remember that the play is a social satire. If you look closely, the other three choices are ridiculous. So if you guess, you may get the right answer. The Way of the World was written by William Congreve, the English playwright, in 1700. Now, this play was considered as the finest example of Restoration comedy, and it had a single action but with plots and counterplots, episodes, events, reversals, discoveries, and most of them were present in the last acts, so demanded a lot of concentration from the audience. Question number 72. Which of the following is an elegy on John Donne's wife who died in 1617? The correct answer is third, Holy Sonnet 17. John Donne is the best metaphysical poet of all times. He wrote around 19 religious poems or holy sonnets, which were published posthumously, that is 2 years after his death. Holy Sonnet 17 is devoted to his wife Anne Moore, who died while giving the birth of their 12th child. The main theme of this sonnet is the love of God. He says that now she is united to God. There is a strong imagery of death, love, and religion. He shows affection towards her because he loved her too much. He's not presenting any grief or resentment because now he's satisfied that his loved one is now with God under the refuge of love of God. So friends, I've finished here part 8 of paper 3, UGC-NET English exam November 5th, and I know that you must have enjoyed a lot and learned a lot, and you must be patiently waiting for the second paper to be discussed here by me. But then I've already told you that I need sufficient feedback so that I'm encouraged to do paper number 2 here with you. Also, you can join our batches in Miracle for NET, MA, BA, or any other course in literature. Till then, happy learning. Take care. Bye-bye.
For Professor Higgins.
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen.
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire, hurricanes hardly ever happen.
Oh, no.
For Professor Higgins. Night and day he slays away. Oh, poor Professor Higgins.